Hi everyone, Dave here. Welcome to the latest episode of Legends of the Spire as I creep closer to 100 interviews of the former players and managers of Chesterfield FC. This week I had another striker on the podcast. Always lovely speaking to a striker. And this week it was the turn of Tom Denton. Now Tom was part of the Chesterfield team over the last kind of 3, 4, 5 seasons with us. Obviously a very turbulent time as the club was trying to turn itself around again after dropping into the National League. Tom played under managers like Martin Allen, John Pemberton, John Sheridan, James Rowe and Paul Cook. So we had a chat about that whole period of time, including, as always, a really funny story about John Sheridan. Every player seems to have one. Tom is now at Guiseley, which is not far from me. And he also started off at Wakefield, which is where I work. So a nice few little links in there as well. I'll be popping over and having a look at some of his matches as I'm not far away from him. And it was really good to still hear about that link that he still has with Chesterfield. Still says we, obviously because he was here that long. Scored some great goals over his time, and I sponsored his shirt back then as well. So you'll see that in the background of the video. As always, I am at Spy Legends on Twitter and Instagram, and Legends of the Spy on Facebook. So it'd be great to hear from you, and if you've got any players that you know and you can point them in my direction, that would be super. But here we are with the latest episode of Legends of the Spire. It's a giant of a striker, the one and only Tom Denton. Here we go.
Legends of the Spire.
I was speaking to Rob Edwards a couple of weeks ago, who was with us kind of 20 odd years ago, who was up at Home Firth.
Yeah,
He was saying,
Well, that's where I live in Onley, yeah, so not far from Rob.
Yeah, so he was saying, oh, I've kind of kept an interest in Chesterfield because Tom's playing for them. So, so what was it kind of like growing up around there then? Because obviously everyone plays rugby around there, don't they? You weren't ever tempted into rugby, were you?
No, not rugby. No. Well, we used to actually play at Wakefield's rugby ground. To be honest, we just got into the under-18s side really, just playing on a Tuesday nights really, and first team manager were watching and liked what it looked, and ended up getting into the first team at about 17. Yeah.
Mm. Were you always kind of up front then, or did you move about a bit?
Yeah, I always played up front. Yeah, not yet. I won't go to back yet. Maybe a couple of years.
and I'm like 6'5" myself, so I've always been like the biggest kid in class. Has it been kind of similar for you?
Yeah, I always tallest, even back then. We're always bigger than everyone else, but has advantages in football, I guess.
Yeah, on the school photo, I'm always in the middle of the back row.
Yeah, I was exactly the same. Yeah,
default position. Always on the emergency exit seats on Ryanair flights, and
always, yeah.
Always cursing my knees when I'm on buses and things like that. Yeah. So did you kind of did they never try and make you a centre half then or anything like that because you got that bit of height, or was it always the advantage up front?
No, I always played up front really. Like I say, I've always had a knack for getting on end of things and scoring goals. So yeah, I've never really had a go at centre half, but I wouldn't mind it. Be all right, I think. Yeah, just ain't got any legs for it.
I suppose it's you'd know how a striker thinks, wouldn't you? So you'd think that you could play centre half. I suppose you're just pointing in the opposite direction. I suppose, aren't you?
Yeah, I just need a bit. I just need a bit of legs around me. Probably I just go on with the first ball, and then hopefully I made mop up behind me. But yeah, might be for a couple of years, that I reckon.
So you started like at Wakefield, didn't you? And interesting. It's an interesting city to like work in because obviously it's a big city, Wakefield, but its football team's never been, kind of massive. It is a kind of a rugby town, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you kind of found your feet there, didn't you? And kind of started to get noticed a bit playing for Wakefield.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, like I say, it's not known for football at all, really. I think it were Evo Stick Division 1 North, and like I say, I were 16, 17, and I was just coming off bench a bit, starting the odd game here and there. But when I was playing, I was doing all right. So yeah, that's when I started getting noticed a bit round back then, and then obviously it kicked off from there, really.
And what kind of clubs did you end up on trial at then? Because I've seen like Blackburn mentioned, and a few others.
Yeah, I went to Blackburn. It were manager Ronnie Glavin at the time. He had some good contacts, and like I say, I went on trial. I went for 2 weeks at Blackburn, and I went for a week at Crystal Palace when Neil Warnock were there. So that were obviously good experiences. Played a few games for both them teams, and that worked really.
Is it always a funny time? Because I've spoken to loads of players where they've said, they could have almost gone on 20, 30 different trials at probably loads of different clubs, but you get to a point where you kind of want to actually sign somewhere so you're not constantly going on trial. How long did it take before you ended up at Huddersfield?
Yeah, it was about probably end of them trials. I never went on trial at Huddersfield. I think they picked up on me that I'd been going on trial like at the time they were bigger clubs than Huddersfield. So I think they picked up on that and thought, oh, we'll take a chance on him. Because like I say, I'm from Huddersfield as well, so we thought, oh, local lad, he might be a good signing for us. Like, so yeah, that's when I went there.
Who did you kind of grow up supporting then?
Yeah, support Huddersfield. Yeah, used to go watch with my mum and dad when I was a kid, and then obviously sign for him were a bit of a dream come true, really.
So who would you have kind of been modelling yourself on then?
Well, it's Andy Booth. He's played for Sheffield Wednesday, and like I say, it's a strange one really, because I used to train with him. Then when I left, I ended up plastering his house in Omni. So yeah.
Did he remember you?
Yeah, of course, yeah. He's still living in Omni now. Yeah, still bump into each other in village and that. Yeah. But Andy were a great striker to learn, like especially for someone like myself who were pretty similar in where we're playing. It were good to learn off. Yeah.
And I don't want to sound all misty-eyed to football of a few years ago and stuff, but I kind of look back at that era of kind of Premier League and Championship football, and it's like a classic era, wasn't it? There was some proper classic players that when you look back, like proper footballers.
It was like it is today, really. Like, not obviously Premier League's different today now, but back in them days, it was like rough and tumble Premier League football, and it were quite interesting to watch, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So, what was it like then? You kind of finding your feet around Huddersfield and stuff like that, being part of that training and stuff.
Yeah, like I say, it were a bit of a. I didn't expect him to come in and sign me, but when I heard they were interested, obviously I wanted to go to a training ground with 5 minutes from my house, and like I say, I wanted to give it a crack. Obviously, it was a shame that I never got to play many. I didn't play any first team games. I was just playing reserves and going out on loan. So I was only 17, 18, and back then I was 8 stone wet through. I wasn't ready for it really, if you know what I mean. So I went on a few loans, and I was saying to my old man, I said, "Look, I'm not ready for this yet. You know what I mean? You need to fill out a bit when you're 18 and you're 6'5". You're skinny as out, so yeah. I had a few loans and just a bit of experience, really, just around country.
Do you find it's obviously if you'll have had that experience at Wakefield then of kind of a bit more rough and tumble football? When you're kind of learning that kind of level of the game and stuff, there are a few centre-halves that kind of see your height and pick on you a bit?
Especially when you're younger, I used to get a few whacks, you have to toughen up early doors there, but yeah, it was, like I say, it was all good experience at that age, really, playing in them leagues, and then obviously he's set me in good stead for what I've done up to now, really.
What kind of football are you on a pitch? Are you a chatty one, or are you not?
Yeah, I don't mind chatting to centre halves. Yeah, I do chat a lot to referee and centre halves. There's some that don't talk at all. Like, you'll talk to a centre half completely blank you, but yeah, I don't mind talking to them now and again when balls are away from us.
Have you got any sneaky tricks or anything like that you say to unsettle them, or are you just having a general chat?
No, just general. Obviously, now I've played against a lot of players in past, so we'll might talk about previous games or just general nonsense, really. But yeah, I don't mind a chat now and again with opposition.
I suppose you never know when you end up on the same team, do you?
Oh yeah, I've been on plenty of same teams that I've played against, players that I've played against. Yeah, so you never know what's round corner.
So then he obviously had loads of like a few loans and stuff. So I've seen like Wakefield scored loads of goals at Wakefield.
Yeah,
That's ridiculous. Did you score like, was it 4 in a match for Wakefield against, was it Salford?
Hopefully, yeah. Like I say, talking 15 years ago now. But I'd gone back on loan to Wakefield from Huddersfield. Yeah, went on loan there. Obviously, and I think I had 2 months there. Came back there, and that's when I went to working. And they were in conference then.
Hmm.
And that were a good experience. We had to obviously live in London away from mum and dad, as you say, like 18, 19. I went with a guy from Huddersfield as well, so it was good to share that experience with someone as well. And then, yeah, I had 6 months at working. I think did all right to be fair. I was like say in and out of it, but all good experiences.
Yeah. And I always like to ask when people end up far away from home, did you end up in like a digs then? Was it you were like put up in someone's house, or was it
Yeah, we started in someone's pub. So we were in there for a month, and then somebody took us in. Yeah, for 3 months. Yeah, I still keep in contact with her now. Actually, nice lady in working. Yeah, and she used to come to all games and make us tea and stuff like that. So yeah, we're all good. Yeah.
Because I was speaking to Colin Larkin, striker we had years ago, and he spoke about a landlady they had who would kind of go in the kitchen to make him a cup of tea and then come back drunk. So you didn't have such a controversial
No, it wasn't too
landlady
bad.
then.
No, we just had us tea late because she was working behind bar. So yeah, it wasn't too bad.
It's very trusting to put you up in a pub.
Yeah,
In a big
yeah.
club,
We,
but
we were we were obviously we were new to it all, so we didn't want to step out of line or all. But we had a few drinks after a game on a Saturday with them, and yeah, we had a good chat about the game. Really, yeah.
do you notice the difference kind of going up the levels even in kind of those non-league levels?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, 'cause like you say, we're Evo Stick. Well, it's Northern Division One North now, but like going to conference is it's massive. Like so all teams were even full time back then. Really, we went to working and we were like I said, we were full time, and they were like I said, a step like even training was just a lot more intense. And like I say, so yeah, it's definitely you can definitely tell a step up even now. Like I was playing at Alfred in Conference North. I went to Chesterfield and I went from there to like wow, you know what I mean. So it's a big step up wherever you play. Yeah.
Crikey. So you've obviously, I kind of know you most from Halifax because I lived in Halifax for a while. Um, so I used to go and watch a few Halifax games and stuff, and quite enjoy it when Chesterfield play there. But so you had kind of really good spells, didn't you? Like Halifax, North Ferriby. I was looking at your goal ratio. It's like 1 in 2, isn't it? For
Yeah,
those
right,
clubs,
yeah,
pretty
right.
much.
Wherever I've been, I've always done all right. Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, I suppose it's North Ferriby where you got to go to Wembley, didn't you, and have a trip there.
yeah. I had signed to North Ferriby, and we had a year. That first year we got to Wembley. Yeah, wow. We were. It's only a village. It's only a village football team. Like there's only 5,000 or 6,000 people live in North Ferriby, and it's we had a good cup run there, and we played some big teams. I remember Epsom were flying in conference. We beat them at home in quarter final. Played Bath in semi final with 2-0 up after we were 2 legs then, so we were 2-0 up after the first leg away. Come back to ours, and they'd scored 2 goals within 15 minutes of the first half, so it was 2-2. And went to penalties semi final. We got through to the final. We played Wrexham, so they had 20,000 there, and we had 6,000 or 7,000 there. That were about it. Yeah, drowned out. We were part time. We were 2-0 down with 20 minutes to go. We had an injured keeper. Couldn't kick it to halfway line. Even Wembley's massive anyway. And we ended up getting it back to 2-2. You'd think, oh, part time legs, we'd be gone. You know, we'd been Wembley and been so big, but now we come strong. got it to 2-2, got it to extra time. We went in lead in extra time, and Wrexham scored with about 2 minutes to go. Take it to penalties, and like, so we messed it up, but we ended up winning on penalties. Yeah.
Is it? I mean, what's it like then, that pitch to play? I've heard a few players that said it's a bit spongy. How did you kind of find it like?
Yeah, well, they do water it a lot, so it's soft underfoot. But I just remember walking out, turning around and waiting for the national anthem, looked up to the thing, never seen it as big in my life. I was like, wow. But yeah, it's every kid's dream to play at Wembley, but I ended up stepping up to win the trophy and missed my penalty, which was disappointing.
But you still have it on your Twitter bio.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, just one of them. Like, not many people play at Wembley, so I thought I'd leave it on there. It's a bit of fun.
Yeah. And it's great for that community, isn't it? Because there'll be, like you say, the communities around those football clubs. Some of them not very big football clubs, but the fans are as passionate, aren't they, as any other club in the country. Yeah, so to get that bit of success is amazing. Yeah, North Ferriby, it was just literally there might have been, you might get 400 fans for a home game, but you could hear them, like they'd be it's right on top of the pitch at North Ferriby. And fans obviously used to get behind you, and like you said, for them to get a day out at Wembley, probably didn't think that ever happened, really. Yeah. Well, what have you got with the medal now then? Have you done anything nice with it, or is it just in a drawer somewhere?
No, I've got it framed with my shirt. My missus will let me put it up in house, so it is in a frame, but it's upstairs.
One day.
Yeah.
Steve Thomason. The Welshman knows he has to score, and he can't. North Ferriby United have completed the footballing fairy tale. Adam Nicklin with the save that wins them the FA Trophy. It is a day that dreams are made of. Billy Heath, in his 700th game as a manager, has led the village team from East Yorkshire with a population of less than 4,000 to the most dramatic Wembley victory over the conference side Wrexham.
Is it Billy Heath kind of comes and plays quite an important role, doesn't he, in that part of your career? Because you kind of followed him a bit, didn't you? Yeah,
I've played for Bill for probably 8 seasons, probably in total, at 3 different clubs. Obviously, played for Alfreton twice. We had a good time at Halifax. Halifax got relegated to North, and they sacked the manager, so they brought Billy in, and Billy brought 6-7 lads from North Ferriby, and I think chairman said to him, "Look, we want to go back up straight away," which is hard to do in any level, really. And we ended up going back up straight this first season, won the playoff final, and then we went to the conference, and we were struggling probably at Christmas. And then obviously Billy left, and then they brought a new manager in and ended up steadying the ship, really, like most caretakers do, and end up staying up. And then and then I left, went back to Alfreton with Bill then, yeah.
Yeah. What is it about him then that you like playing under him?
He just knows what I'm about. I know what he's about, and we've always hit it off, really. And we've always had, whenever I've played for him, we've always had a good team. We've always been in and around top end of divisions, and like I say, we just trust each other, really.
What kind of managers do you find you respond best to?
Ones who are quite vocal, if you know what I mean. Like Billy's he's on you like all the time, getting best out of you. Yeah, probably them, really. I don't. Quieter managers, you can sometimes get away with it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But if you've got a manager that's on you all the time, it makes you perform better.
Interesting. I don't know what I've never been a football player, so I don't know. But it's interesting sometimes at football clubs you go from having one type of manager and then they can go, and then a completely different type of personality can come in. I've always thought it odd from the outside looking in that sometimes a massively different personality comes in and you think, that must be a bit odd for the players when you're used to doing one thing and having one type of person, then someone else comes in? What's it like?
Well, we had obviously my first season at Chesterfield. We had Martin.
Mm.
What a guy! But like always on his play, like always had his best interests of his players at heart. Like he's always like real passionate, aggressive, like but not over the top aggressive. But his man management was good, and like if you're comparing it to like Pembo, it's different. Pembo more like calm and calculated, if you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
with his ways of getting his messages across to his players. But like I said, some people react differently to different managers.
Yeah. So if we leap forward then to Chesterfield, obviously you came from Alfreton. You had a good start at Alfreton, didn't you, that season? Then we ended up kind of buying you.
Yeah.
When that whole transfer kind of happened, were there considerations that you had to kind of take into account? Because obviously you've probably I've spoken to a few players that have said, you have the players that are kind of a National League North that actually could easily be National League or even higher, but they choose to stay National League North to stay regional because of the career on the other side of it. Is there kind of considerations you had to take into account then?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, obviously I was part time at Alfreton, and obviously Chesterfield came in after me like a long deal, like so. Like took me a good couple of weeks to have a think about it with missus and parents and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I fancy having another go at it. Like obviously a lot of players don't make the step up because they're settled in the jobs, settled where they are. But I just thought Chesterfield just come down, wouldn't mind a crack at this, and like I said, I think I ended up having 4 years there, and I'm like, best decision I make. At one point, we're 50-50 whether to go, but I'm glad I did now, yeah.
I was going to say, because at the time it seemed to be, it didn't seem to be like the quickest of transfers. Like
No.
there's always kind of rumours and things that
It
go
was
around.
about-
Isn't there? But
It took we played Chesterfield in a friendly, and I scored twice, and we won 2-0. And I spoke to Martin after the game. He says, "I'll be in touch." So I was still had his number from where, because he was my manager at Cheltenham when I went on loan to Cheltenham back a long time ago. So still still had my number. And I said, I'll call, I'll get in touch with you. So it probably did run out for about 4 to 6 weeks. And like I say, when he got back in touch with me again, it was like he said, he invited everyone down to the club to have a chat and all that. But he's great with that, is Martin. He's good with everyone's families and stuff like that. So yeah, when we all went down, we were driving back saying, yeah, we want to do it. And like I said, I think it took another couple of weeks after that meeting. But as soon as I'd been down to the ground, obviously I had a look around, so I wanted to get it done. So yeah, we ended up, like I say, it did take a while, but got there in the end.
And like I say, having Martin Allen as manager, it's incredibly amusing as a fan, because every signing that you get, he does his little thing on the website, fits the butcher's dog and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
puts online. It must be a bit of a giggle as a bunch of players when all that stuff's coming out on the website and stuff.
Yeah. But like I say, he's known for that, isn't he? So, but when I heard they were interested, I remember keeping an eye on results, and I think they won first 4. I think they won 4 games in a row. First season, yeah. So I was thinking, he's got them going here already. And I think we dipped off a little bit, and then that's when he signed me. Yeah. And like I said, he's great. To be fair, I'm gutted it didn't work out for him, because he would have been, like I say, fans would have loved him if it worked out for him there.
Yeah, it would. I was sad when he went. It would have been great to see him lifting a trophy, because it would have been an entertaining player of the season if we'd have won the title that season. Imagine. What was like a typical Martin Allen training session like?
No, you wouldn't get him he wouldn't be running around. It'd be just normal football. He'd have his coaches who'd set the sessions, and obviously he'd step in when needed, really. But he'd have his weekly routine. Obviously, you'd have your hard day on a Tuesday, you'd have a Wednesday off, you'd have match prep Thursday, and then you'd do your set pieces, and you'd name the team on a Friday, really. So no nothing over the top really, like to any other manager really. And we were just he were fine. He like to fine tune his Thursdays, especially how we'd want to play and who we're playing against. He'd have players that weren't playing exactly like players that were playing for the opposition, and so we'd play against them. So yeah, pretty good really.
Yeah, and he obviously played to your strengths. So kind of in terms of style of play, it was a pivotal part of that team.
Yeah, that was Martin's style. One he had Muggsy throwing in from halfway line and crosses coming in. Yeah, like you say, he got my Chesterfield career off to a good start. Really, I was scoring goals for him. Obviously, we weren't doing well as a team, but to get off to an half decent start personally was nice, really.
Hines certainly looks like Chesterfield's most likely source of inspiration this second half. Lovely back heel, bit of Williams. Denton in! It's the law of the X. His first Chesterfield goal comes at the Shea against Halifax. It was always in the script. And Chesterfield have the equaliser.
And I think I'm right in saying your first goal for Chesterfield was against Halifax, wasn't it? I think so.
That was nice. That, to be fair, because that manager who at Halifax released me, so yeah, that was a nice one. Yeah.
Did you do anything special to celebrate that goal?
No, I just celebrate. No, because my mum and dad were in Halifax and behind dugout, so I went put my fist up to him. I think he might have thought I would be doing that to me, so he didn't shake my hand after the game.
Is your kind of record pretty good then against teams you've played for, scoring against?
Not really played against a lot of teams. Like I said, I've only played against Halifax. Yeah, that's probably the only team I've played against. I've played against Woking and Halifax. I think that's it. I never played against North Ferriby or Alfreton really. So I scored for Halifax against Alfreton and scored for Chesterfield against Halifax. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because sometimes you get these strikers, don't you, that always seem to seem to score against the former clubs.
Yeah, it does happen a lot.
And then one game I wanted to mention from your first season was that 3-3 against Ebbsfleet, which was obviously Will Evans doing his dramatic penalty save. I think you scored. Did you score the first or the second goal in that match?
Yeah, scored the first, made the second, and then Will scored in the last couple of minutes, didn't he? And then they went over the other end. And I remember seeing it back on video, so I don't remember what happened at the time. I think our keeper went out to clear one quickly because we were hoping to get another one. And he just randomly kicked some guy on the backside, really, I think. And obviously the referee had no option but to give a penalty because the ball were live on it and to send him off. But I still said to this day, if a proper keeper were in goal that night, they wouldn't have saved it because where Will dived, he didn't really dive, he jumped up. But if a goalkeeper had just dived on the floor, it'd have gone over his arm. So where he dove up and still stood up. But yeah, it were a cracking game. Obviously, being 3-0 down at half time wasn't great, but to come back and get that point were quite crucial, really.
Yeah. Obviously, for Martin Allen, it didn't. We had loads of draws in a row, didn't we? Like every game was 9 draws in a row. I think it's like a club record of draws.
Club record unbeaten run, he kept saying it.
Yeah.
And pressers were asking if we were happy about it. I think it was, to be honest.
Unbeaten. Hey, you've got to be an optimist. It must be odd though, as a player, when you things just keep happening to.
Yeah, well, I remember my first game. First game, we're at Dagenham away. We were winning 1-0 with 5 minutes to go. We played well. We had to set up a good game plan that day. I came straight in and started. I think we scored after about 10 minutes. And then we about 5 minutes to go. They've just put a long ball over the top, and one of the defenders had just literally gone for an header and lost his footing completely. And guy were clean through and scored. So yeah, there were a bit of unlucky stuff that happened in that run. But as a club like Chesterfield, we should have been winning more games at home than we were doing, mainly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then like you said, Pemberton, Tom Pemberton came in, and like you say, he was a different type of character. And I've spoken to loads of players that said, they were really sad that didn't work out for him because he's like one of the good guys.
Guys, yeah. But Pemberton came in like a lot. Well, I've had 4 or 5 managers at Chesterfield. They've all done the same thing, really. When they've come in, they've always steadied the ship. And Pemberton came in, and we were struggling when Pemberton came in. I think we were in bottom 4 at one point. And he came in and he did a great job. Really, he got me playing again, and I had a good end to the season. Really.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it, when you have a like for Chesterfield, we were obviously in years of decline before you came in, kind of that tumble down the leagues and stuff, and then to like turn a club around again and get them consistently winning again and up the table. It's quite a task, isn't it? You need a certain type of manager or a bit of luck. I don't know what it is to get them pointing in the right direction again.
Well, if you see it in loads of clubs, if they're used to losing, they'll just keep losing. That's what. And there's, like I say, they'll just keep falling and falling. And we were lucky, really. We were really lucky not to go down again, which is hard to say, but we got out of it just. And then, like you say, hopefully we've set them up now to kick on again, get back to League Two.
Yeah. So season 2, 1920. So this is the season that was cancelled because of COVID.
Did John Sheridan start in charge or Pemberton?
Yeah, so it was, I think Pemberton started in charge and then Sheridan came.
So Sheridan took over after Martin Allen was sacked and Pemberton had 5 games or something like that. Because that's when I started playing well, when Shes came in. Because he brought Scott Bowden in with him. He brought Scott Bowden in, and me and him hit it off quick, like. And I think we both got 10 goals in half a season before the end of the season. Scott had a great run. And then following season, everyone again thinking, oh yeah, we had a good end to the season, we'll get some good signings in. And like I say, it didn't work out. And Pemberton came in and saved the ship again.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it, how these things happen? Which players, like you mentioned, Scott Bowden, which players, kind of him and others then, did you feel that you always had a bit of a connection with on the pitch?
I used to get on well with, obviously, Scott. Me and Scott, one of them who just hit it off. He obviously experienced a bit more experience than me in terms of level, but he just knew where he wanted to be, really. And like I said, we played pretty direct, obviously, into me, and he'd get off the flick-ons, and I'd probably set him up 6 or 7 goals, probably just from that, really. And yeah, there are a few. Obviously, I played a lot with Laws and Will Evans. I think Mandy were just coming onto the scene when I was just finishing. But yeah, a lot of them boys were good footballers, and we shouldn't have been where we were, really, with the team we had.
Yeah, and interesting. You just mentioned his name, but Liam Mandeville, like his stratospheric rise from being kind of a bit inconsistent, maybe, and like the guy that was usually substituted or something like that, to now being like probably one of the fittest, most consistent, dependable people on the pitch. It's kind of it's amazing, isn't it? That kind of timeline that he's been on. That's
it. His last 2.5 years probably has been one of Chesterfield's best players. And like I say, he's had a manager who's probably trusted him now. Back when I was playing, he was, like I say, we're in and out, couldn't get a run of games. But I know Liam's a very good footballer. So, like you say, he's got a good manager in Cookie now who's going to hopefully take him to League Two. And I think he'll prosper in that league as well. He's a very good footballer, is Liam. And like you say, he's as fit as they come. There's nothing to him. He'll run around all day for you, but he's got that quality as well.
And he seems like a funny chap off the pitch.
Yeah, he's a good lad off the pitch. Yeah, he's quite lively. But
everyone's seen videos from the team bus and stuff like that of him.
Yeah. He likes to enjoy himself, but obviously he puts his serious, obviously Monday to Friday, and like you've got to be as representing the club.
Yeah, totally. That the whole we kind of survived a relegation on points per game, didn't we? After the whole COVID.
Yeah, I think. I always say this: we won at Chorley, and I scored winner, and I think that wins kept us up on points per game. I think we won at Charlie and drew at Dover, and then that were it. So if we'd have drawn at Charlie and drawn at Dover, I think we'd have been done. But we won at Charlie, so I'll take credit for that. We think we stayed up by them 3 points.
I mean, yeah, you look back at it and you think, crikey,
Yeah,
close so many times to being. And I think Wrexham were only just survived as well, if I remember right.
Wrexham just about Wrexham. I think they were just we finished one place outside relegation on points per game. I think they were 1 or 2 places just above us. But yeah, it was a crazy season really. Nobody could get going really, especially with the team we had. We should have been nowhere near down there. But like I say, inconsistency, lots of games getting called off here and there, and it was just a strange time really. We didn't have our fans in the ground as well. That makes a massive difference when all you've got is your coaching staff and a few volunteers compared to 8,000 at home. It's completely different.
Yeah. I think when I was talking to George Carline, he was saying, he played lots of games for Chesterfield, but I think he only played at home in front of the fans like 3 times or something because of all that.
Back end of the season, when fans started coming back in. But I don't think it was still full then, really. But no, George come back. He'll have had a full season. Did he have a full season with fans, George?
Yeah, maybe it was just that first season.
Yeah,
I remember him talking about, scoring goals, and it was
no one there. Yeah,
he's kind of saying it was a bit. I mean, what was it like scoring a goal in front of no one? Is it?
Yeah, just strange because you want to celebrate with your supporters, don't you? And obviously you get a lift and you get an extra 10% when you hear that roar when you've scored. And I remember scoring my first goal with no fans there, and I'm thinking, Jesus, it's literally like a pre-season friendly. You score and you just go back to halfway line. It just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, it was really strange. Even watching it on a laptop at home was a bit weird.
I remember Mum and Dad watching on laptop saying, kept cutting out and stuff like that. But no, it was strange times, wasn't it? But it's just glad it's all sorted now and we're all back watching football.
Yeah. So then you were obviously part of the team that then starts to get the team up the league table a bit. And we end up in the playoffs and stuff at that 2021 season. You were kind of injured at the end of that season, weren't you? But
yeah, it was. That was James Rowe's season, wasn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, I remember. Well, it was start of COVID season, and then James Rowe came in the November. Pemberton left. But I had a great start that season. I think when I got injured, I was top goal scorer in division. I was like, oh, come on, you're going into every game thinking, I'm going to score again.
Yeah,
I kept scoring winners, and I did my knee in the January. I played at Solihull, scored at Solihull, and then just felt something on my knee. And that was season done really. But like I said, 10 goals by January, and I'm like, I'm going to get 20 league goals here, and it'd be a great season. But yeah, I was good that I got injured there. So I'd say I was playing some of my best footy there at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying I was looking at the results list that season, and your name was every fixture.
Yeah.
I mean, how much does your confidence go up? Stupid question, but when you've kind of game after game after game after game, do you kind of feel like you can almost close your eyes and head a ball and it goes in the top corner?
Yeah, it was just falling for me every week. I remember we went to Yeovil and 0-0 with 20 minutes to go, and one just fell to me in box and put it away, and all that thinking, God, this is happening. It's happening every week, and I'm loving it. But there were no one there. There were no one there to celebrate it with. You know what I mean? It was that sort of stuff. But no, I had that on my bet. I would have got 20 goals that season. I would have thought, yeah, easy. So we're only early Jan when I got injured, and like you say, I was playing my best stuff, and we had a good team. We were pushing up the table. I got a Quasi Santi had just come in, and we struck up a good partnership with him, and yeah, I was devastated to get injured there. Awful 6 months to try and get back then, really.
Mm-hmm. And under James Rowe, it was kind of again the style kind of suited you, didn't it? In terms of it wasn't Martin Allen style direct, but it was kind of quite back to front, wasn't it, in a way?
Yeah, he used to mix it up well, did James, to be fair. He used to obviously get it into the front, but he'd always say, like, let's play your football in their half kind of thing. So not just hit it in air, but like try and drop it into your chest and play in their half kind of thing. And it used to work.
Mm.
James were a very good coach, to be fair, and he got best out of his players as well. And I think when we lost in playoff quarter final, and that was County. Like I said, I was obviously watching that game, and I was thinking, we had a goalkeeper on one leg, didn't we?
Yeah, Monty. Yeah,
we'd have got through that. If we'd have got through Notts County, we'd had a great chance, I think.
yeah. We'd have not lost that game. I don't think had it not been for having
Well,
incapacitated.
I think we were winning. We were winning while they were still on it, and they scored twice, didn't they? When he couldn't move, yeah. So I think, especially the last goal, he nearly headed it in online. Yeah, he just couldn't move anywhere. But yeah, it's one of them things. You don't have a goalkeeper on bench, and that's risky take, really.
It's a bit of a hindsight thing, but in situations like that, do you think you're better sticking a centre half in net and having a fit outfield player in net rather than an injured goalkeeper?
Yeah, probably. Now, if you look back on it, yeah, because he literally couldn't move or die. Yeah. So probably, yeah, probably should have done it, but you're always thinking if you might be able to save one late on, the outfield player won't be able to save, but it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, and you ended up around that period having a lot of players. We had a lot of players injured. It was kind of every match there was another one down, and then there was another one down, and
yeah, it was. I don't know what it was. It was just a bit of unluckiness, I think. Just like I said, I got injured. Obviously, that's I remember watching games I have to say every game we were getting a bad injury. I remember seeing Cabby's leg break at Weymouth. It was shocking. I think Jack McCart had a bad one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there were a few, like you say, getting injured pretty much every game, and it just killed our momentum going forward.
Yeah,
I still think we'd have been fighting for title if Cabby hadn't got injured that season. We're absolutely flying, and to lose Cabs, and then I think we just had Quasi really on his own, and then Quiggs came in to help the load, but to lose that, we had 25 goals by February time or something like that, and we were definitely in top two then, and yeah, it showed. Then we stumbled out league, and we only just scraped playoffs on the last day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a defeatist, but when that injury to Cabby happened, I was like, yeah, that's probably us done then, because he was that important, wasn't he?
We had 7 hours back from Weymouth, and it was silent. I think everyone, all the players knew what the fans knew, thinking we've just lost his best goal scorer for maybe a season and a bit. You know what I mean? We were a bad leg break, and I'm just glad to see that he's got back to full fitness, and obviously he's got his move to League One. But yeah, it killed our season really. That, like I said, we just had to pick as many points up as we could then to try and sneak a playoff place, and we did.
Yeah. He got a hat-trick the other day, didn't he, in a pre-season friendly? So he's
did he?
he's got a hat-trick. I think they won 8-1 or something the other day, and he scored a second-half hat-trick. So.
Saw him come on at Sheffield Wednesday in playoffs. He only come on for 2 minutes. I'm like, he's coming on to take a pen here, he won't miss. See how he's good at pens, and he's good pressure pen, that's good to see.
On the lighter side of injury and stuff, if not there is one, I had Emma that I spoke to on the podcast, and she said you were the player that always stole a secret stash of sweets from a physio bag.
Yeah, she had a good stash. Well, obviously, like I said, last year and a bit, I was always in there, wasn't I? But yeah, she used to have a nice couple of bags of wine gums in there in the corner packet. She didn't obviously clocked on it with me at end, but yeah, I used to have them for breakfast, I think.
I think she let on that she started putting more than one packet in because you kept nicking them.
Yeah.
Plays the ball into the edge of the area. Weston's header. Denton with a great chance! And Denton putting his heel legs of the goalkeeper. It's only Tom Denton's 5th goal of the season for the Spireites of Angle.
So obviously all of those managers over that period, so they've had Martin Allen and Pemberton and Shares and James Rowe and Paul Cook. Like, if you can sum them all up in one word, I don't know what's kind of differences between them all.
Don't know really. Obviously, they're all different characters, aren't they? So you see, Shez is more old school with Martin Allen.
Is it true that like when I was talking to Jonathan Smith, he was saying they used to call it Team Bingo at the time because it was a bit like you never quite knew who was where on the match day.
Yeah, we played a game at Harrogate. So I'm obviously I'm not here now, so we played a game at Harrogate, and usually you'd know a team by Friday morning. So we did Friday morning training, didn't pick team, got to the hotel in Harrogate Saturday morning for a pre-match, didn't tell us a team then. So usually when that's the case, you usually tell you 1:10 in changing rooms. Didn't say got to two, like, I remember it because I was thinking, am I playing? I'm not playing. So I'm going to look at my phone. It was like 2:05. We still didn't know the team. Team were on Twitter. We didn't know the team. Looked on team sheet. I wasn't even in the squad. I was saying to the lads here, showing my phone. I said, look, you're starting. You're on bench. I'm not in squad. Yeah, that was only time though. I don't know. I think that was towards back end of his spell, really. Whether we were trying to like keep everyone ready or on the toes kind of thing. But yeah, found out on my phone in the dressing room that were 2:05 what team was. And then he come back in. He obviously had been to see referees and stuff. So obviously captain obviously knew he was starting. I think it was Will. Captain Will and Martin went to the referee's room for team sheets, and obviously Twitter had got it before they got back.
Crazy. That sums up John Sheridan's second spell with us, I suppose. I think maybe the Oldham fans found that as well. I wasn't surprised he retired after Oldham. I don't know whether he's
a legend at Oldham, though, isn't he?
Yeah. He's been there like 100 times, hasn't he?
Yeah, when he went back in there, I thought he might have had a chance of keeping him up, but they were too far adrift on there. But like you say, he's had a good career as a top player, apparently. So, and like I say, he's done all right in management now, so he'll hopefully be able to enjoy the rest of his life, just watching football and doing what he wants to do.
There was a few Chesterfield fans over the summer that bumped into him in a pub in Manchester, and he ended up buying them drinks all afternoon. So I think he's enjoying himself.
Yeah, he's old school, and so he like a drink after a game and stuff. So
yeah. And latterly, then Paul Cook, again, completely different character.
Yeah, obviously I'd heard of Paul, but obviously I managed in Championship and League One really, so I wasn't really too sure what to expect. But I got on really well with Paul. To be fair, we both got on together really well, and like I say, I was injured I think when he came in, but when I got back, I played a few games for him. To be fair, and I really enjoyed it. Like he's quite laid. I wouldn't say laid back, but obviously leaves a lot up to his coaches. But then he'll step in on a back end of week and get his point across really well before a game on a Saturday. And like I said, I think Chesterfield are in really good hands now to push on.
And he speaks a lot, doesn't he, about like habits and trust and things like that. Is that kind of a thing that's hammered in behind the scenes as well?
A lot in training, like repetition, like you say, like good habits, and like you say, you've got to have good standards, and I think that's what. Obviously, I've been to a few games since I've left, and he's got a great team together. Obviously, they all know what they're doing. They're all driven, and they all want to get Chesterfield back to League Two, just like I did when I was playing. But I think now Notts County and Wrexham are out of the picture. I think everyone's going to be gunning for Chesterfield, aren't they?
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be sat in at Chesterfield's ground and hoping to nick a point. Where last year, obviously, they were all Wrexham and Notts County saga, but hopefully it can be Chesterfield's year this year. Yeah.
One thing I've always wanted to ask is in terms of how you kind of get on with referees and things like that, because you always you kind of get penalised a lot for just being big, I think, sometimes.
Well, they seem to always know my name as well, which is annoying. Like, I don't know them, and they always say, "Oh, yeah, right, Tom." Like every referee, even we're warming up in corner and they're doing the lap round. They always seem to say my name for some reason. It's whether obviously always got their eye on me, haven't they? I guess, but no, referees are referees. Aren't they? It's probably one of the hardest jobs to do, and they've got to do it. And like you say, I'll give some fouls away that probably aren't fouls, and I'll get some that aren't fouls as well. So yeah, over the years I've grown to. I've when I was like 5, 6 years ago, you get annoyed at referees, but yeah, I've wised up to it now. And like you say, it's one of the toughest jobs to do, and obviously the crowd's always on the back.
Yeah. Are there just sometimes those games where every time you jump, they blow the whistle?
Yeah,
It seems like that sometimes from watching.
plenty of times, especially if they've got a defender. You say, sorry, a midfielder just sat in front. If you touch them with your arm, the referee's blowing up straight away like that, and it gets crowd. It just gets crowd annoyed and everything. Really, it's just yeah, but you just got to get on with it. Old enough now to realise. So.
Yeah. What are some of your favourite moments, kind of in a Chesterfield shirt? Then, are there any that proper stick out?
Probably this. First round FA Cup.
Nice.
That's not moved from there for 2018 November. So that, yeah, I remember doing. Obviously, that game I didn't play in the first game at home. We played Billericay. They were dancing on pitch after the game at our place after a 1-1. I remember Martin saying we've got to go down to their place and beat them, and we beat them. Obviously, got to get an hat-trick with a great FA Cup first round hat-trick. So yeah, and ended up doing an interview on Radio 5 Live on pitch at the end as well. Yeah.
Do you get like an FA Cup ball, or is it just a branded?
It's badge on it and everything. So yeah.
Yeah.
All signed by out lads. So yeah. 6 years ago, that.
Yeah.
What was that?
Has the kit man always got a Sharpie in his bag then, just in case?
Well, yeah, I think he'll have he's always got a pen knocking about in his room. So yeah, if everyone ever gets an hat trick, there's always a pen knocking about in changing rooms. So everyone to sign it. So yeah, to get a hat trick for Chesterfield in FA Cup first round, we're definitely up there.
And it's Shaw again, and he's got the better of Kennedy, and Shaw can now break into the area, and supported by Denton, and Chesterfield have the lead. There's Maguire, cleared as far as Denton, and Chesterfield are back in front, and it's Tom. It may take two to stop him, or maybe not. And Manchi continues, and there is the hat-trick. Tom Denton can claim the match ball.
So finally, then, just going on to back to you, like you're Guiseley now. So
yeah, Guiseley. Yeah, I've got a call. Left Alfred in summer. Obviously, Billy just didn't have. He just said he didn't have the resources, so he let 7 or 8 players leave, and obviously, hopefully, he replaces them boys with some good ones. But yeah, I got a call from Guiseley, and it's 45 minutes from home now. So I thought, yeah, go and have a crack at that. And yeah, we've had a couple of friendlies, and our fixtures are out tomorrow, so it's always something to look forward to see where we're playing on the first day of the season and stuff like that. But yeah, hopefully I can have a good season there and kick on again.
Yeah, and there'll probably be a few of your former Chesterfield teammates kicking around probably in that league now. I think Monty's in that league. I think, is he?
Yeah. There's a few. There'll be a few knocking about. Jonathan Smith's at FC United.
Yeah.
So there'll be all the ones going down leagues now, aren't they? So we'll probably bump into them, mate. On the pitch and have a drink after. Yeah.